Hey there, a new raid day is coming up for Origin, Dialga, and Palkia. I've made a video before about what IVs are sufficient for Master League, and I decided to update a little bit because now we have different Pokemon to deal with dragons like Crown, Zacian, and Zamazenta. First off, not drawing any comparisons to the altered forms. Origin Palkia is better in every aspect than its altered form, and Origin Dialga has better bulk, lower attack than the altered form. I think the altered Dialga is very playable, but Origin does this just a little bit better because of more bulk. First Palkia. Unfortunately, we can still not use an Elite Charge TM to get Spatial Rent, and in this event you have a chance to get a Spatial Rent attack on it, so that's kind of, well, I have my opinions. The good news is, if you don't get Spatial Rent, it is still very viable, because Fire Blast would hit super effective into Steel-type Pokemon. It would allow you to have some winning scenarios into Crowned Form Zacian and Zamazenta. So if you get a Hundo Palkia Origin with Fire, without Spatial Rent, put Fire Blast on it, still viable. Attack is actually less important on Palkia than you might think. I always say 15 attack is just basically the standard, because you always want to win Charge Attack Purity tie. But if you play a mirror between two Palkia, you get it so low, like to 25% in the mirror before you get to a Spatial Rend that will KO, that it could actually be a pretty nice farm down for anything else you have in the back, such as anything that's not a Ho-Oh. You only start to lose breakpoints, and a breakpoint is where you deal one less damage with your Dragon Breath in this case, at 12 attack, and that is against a Dragonite. So if you don't face any Dragonite, maybe you could get away with a 12 attack Palkia. It's not ideal, but worst case scenario. Defense on Palkia is a little bit more simple, 15, nothing lower. Because if you face an opposing Dialga Origin with 15 attack and you have 14 defense, they will deal 1 more damage with their Dragon Breath, making the matchup significantly worse. You probably even want to Best Buddy your Palkia Origin, because if your opponent has Best Buddy their Dialga, they would still get that breakpoint. So that way you can negate it in case that is something you may face commonly. Or if you're thinking, what do I Best Buddy? Well, it could be Palkia Origin. HP is more of a niche stat and only really comes in handy when you live a move at like 1 HP. In a perfect scenario where both Pokemon have the same amount of shields, same amount of health, same amount of energy, it actually changes about nothing, except in the mirror, if you decide to shield against opposing Palkia, you may get Dragon Breath down because they have slightly more HP. Other than that, you could actually get away with as low as 11 HP, which is 3 HP less than the rank 1, and it's really not as much of a difference. So worst case scenario, yes, you could play the 12, 15, 11. That would actually perform really similar to a rank 1, but of course you want to aim for as high stats as possible. At least that is what I would recommend, and that's also what I personally would invest 300 XL candy in if I were to make one. The best moveset for Dialga is very simple, Iron Head and Roar of Time. Roar of Time is so good that even when resisted, it is more efficient than Thunder. Think of Melmetal, Roar of Time will do more damage here. It's the same as Draco Meteor, but no debuff. Thunder is playable. I wouldn't say that if you catch a 100 Origin Dialga without Roar of Time that it sucks. No, it's very playable, and it could in fact even be a nice price for like an opposing Lugia or Ho-Oh that's counting Dragon Breath and is not expecting a Thunder, because it's a little bit cheaper in energy than Roar of Time is. The ideal attack for Dialga Origin is 15 attack plus Best Buddy. Like I said with Palkia, you get a breakpoint against them if they are not Best Buddy, so you deal more damage. What was already a decent matchup becomes even better then. On top of that, if you have Best Buddy, you also win Charge Tie in the mirror, but also against Groudon and Kyogre, because they have the same attack set as Dialga Origin. If you would not have 15 attack, you could go as low as 10 attack even, because you don't lose any other breakpoints. The only matchup that really becomes worse, which maybe you can just double shield through, is Palkia Origin, because you don't lose any other breakpoints at as low as 10 attack. But I would recommend 15 with Best Buddy. Defense is not as important for Dialga Origin, however, it is nice to have 15 and again plus Best Buddy, because there is a Rhyperior bulk point at 15 defense, and Rhyperior can also hit that if they are Best Buddied. So Best Buddied Dialga Origin, 15 attack, 15 defense is perfect here. Unfortunately, it's a little bit IV dependent. However, Rhyperior is not exactly that great of a matchup anyway, so may not affect you as much if you really insist on building a Dialga without 15 defense. It's very manageable, but do keep in mind that Mudslap will do 1 more damage if you don't have 15 defense and they have 15 attack. Now, Dialga is an IV dependent jerk. 15 and 14 HP is the exact same, so at least there's that. You could go lower in HP. It's not changing any matchups on even energy, even shields, except in the mirror. If you go as low as 12 HP, you will lose the one shield scenario, both going straight Iron Head. That is a 1 HP loss, so not like the worst. And if you go to 11 HP, you will get Dragon Breath down in the mirror when both are using 2 shields. So lower HP is very viable. Just know your matchups. I personally built a 15-15. 13 Dialga with Roar of Time, that was lucky, and it does the job just perfectly fine. So hopefully that'll make you more comfortable about which Dialga or Palkia Origin to build if you rate a new one this weekend. Again, Fire Blast very viable on Palkia Origin, which is why I will be rating it. And if you want to know more, I made a video when they came out, which is still very viable. It's also about Dragon Tail, Origin Palkia, and matchups into Mega Pokemon. So if you want to know more, dive deeper into it, you may want to check that out as well. I'll link it in the description. I hope you liked the video and see you next one. Bye.